In Dallas, Texas this week, conservatives from across the country are gathering at the Conservative Political Action Conference. It's a three-day convention celebrating the cores of American conservatism and the furthering of its cause. CPAC kicked off with a series of speeches from conservative celebrities and prominent Republican politicians who spoke about what they see as the most important issues facing America today.
Democrats, they can't even define what a woman is. They can't even define what recession is, and they think men can get pregnant.
They used COVID to change the election and unconstitutionally change it.
The left does not believe in the America that we believe in. They're Marxist, socialist, communist. It's obvious.
Where's the committee investigating those riots by the Democratic base? You see, we don't have equal justice under the law in this country. The climate alarmist cult that want you to think that the world is going to end in 12 years. If it really was going to end in 12 years, I'd say the hell with it all. Let's have one big party for the last 10 years. And then we'll all go home and see Jesus together, or at least half of us will.
And that was just the appetizer, or perhaps a distasteful amuse-bouche, if you will. On Thursday, CPAC welcomed its headline speaker, the Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban. Orban has become somewhat of a darling to American conservatives for his strongman tactics and his hardline immigration policies. And he has been frequently lauded by Fox News and its most watched primetime host, Tucker Carlson. Former President Donald Trump, also a fan. Earlier this week, Trump hosted Orban at his golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey. Orban's appearance at CPAC and his meeting with Donald Trump this week has, to put it lightly, raised some eyebrows. In July, Orban gave a speech where he spoke out against creating peoples of mixed race, declaring that countries were no longer nations after races blended. Members of his own party condemned his speech, including a longtime aide who, in her resignation letter, called the speech a purely Nazi diatribe worthy of Joseph Goebbels, a reference to Hitler's Nazi propagandist. But on Thursday, American conservatives at CPAC welcomed Viktor Orban with applause.
It's fantastic to be here in Texas, the Lone Star State of the great United States of America. Politics, my friend, are not enough. This war is a culture war. The mother is a woman, the father is a man, and leave our kids alone. Full stop, end of discussion. We decided we don't need more genders, we need more rangers. Less drag queens and more Chuck Norris. The globalists can all go to hell. I have come to Texas.
Joining me now is my friend Michael Steele, former chairman of the RNC and an MSNBC political analyst. Michael, thank you so much for being here right now. We have to start with Viktor Orban. How can we ignore that? You know, this is the second time that CPAC has courted having Viktor Orban as one of its biggest speakers. Is this the new Republican Party?
Unfortunately, it is. It's sick. It's sad. It's pathetically non-conservative. It's right-wing white nationalism, and they've embraced it. Matt Schlapp has played a key role in making this CPAC more of a joke than it had become in the last few years, and dangerous. They're whooping and cheering for a man who does not stand in the legacy of Reagan, who spoke at CPAC as he began his political journey to the presidency, but rather stands in the legacy as his own employees, his own staffers, own political advisor told him stands in the shadow of someone like Goebbels or Nazism, and they're embracing and applauding that. So yeah, there's a lot to be concerned about. What Tucker Carlson is doing, taking his show to Orban's backyard to profile and bend the knee. CPAC going and doing special programming in Hungary, again, bending the knee to Orban and then inviting him to the United States. What is more damning, Katie, is the fact that the Republican leadership, Mitch McConnell, McCarthy, the men who stand behind McConnell and McCarthy, the women inside the GOP leadership, deathly silent, saying nothing. In my view, silently applauding and approving, because what it means is they get the grift on. That's going to translate into dollars and hopefully votes turning out in November. And it's a sad, pathetic shell of the former Republican Party.
You know, Michael, it's quite the cast of characters at this CPAC conference, mixed in with leading Republican politicians like Ron DeSantis from Florida, Senator Ted Cruz. You've got MyPillow CEO and election denier Mike Lindell. You got Steve Bannon, skirting the law every other day. Is this just further evidence then, Michael, that all of these people that we thought were outliers, people that were kind of peering into the Republican Party tent, wanting to be closer to the warmth of that sun? Do you think now it's a very sad commentary that you're inviting somebody, an autocrat like Viktor Orban, to come to the United States, to stand on domestic soil and tout the stuff that he's saying?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And the reality of it is, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. You have these people, there was this idea that emerged during my time at the RNC with respect to the Tea Party and with the leadership, which was we can manage them. And I would tell them, no, you can't. So what you can't co-opt this. You have to understand it, and you have to basically deconstruct it to understand exactly what's driving this, and then reconnect them to the goals and aspirations of our party. What this leadership, the Ted Cruz's and others have decided to do, inviting the Mike Lindells, making them like they're profoundly important political leaders. The man sells damn pillows, for God's sake. Right? He's never walked a poll or worked a poll or walked a precinct. And yet he's sort of, in the Oval Office advising the president of the United States. What they've decided is to make this much more transactional, make this much more about the power that is gained from it. And it is weakened, and as you pointed out, placed the party in a position where now you've got a white nationalist racist like Orban on our soil in the backyard of our party, advocating bull and crap, that stuff that these people know damn well they would not have been advocating for in any other time in the party's history. But here we are, and instead of trying to deconstruct this, they're embracing it, they're reinforcing it, and that's how you're getting, a Fincham, a Kerry Lake, and Mastriano leading Republican tickets around the country.
Michael, this is extremism at its worst. I mean, you can laugh sometimes at how absurd it sounds when you watch this happen at CPAC, but it is white nationalism. It is racism. It is not even Nazi light. Viktor Orban is not flirting with those concepts. He's fully embracing them. I guess my question for you is, this was a party of which you headed up as the chair of the RNC. I like to refer to you as the elder statesman, but I'll call you the younger statesman because you're too young for me to call you the elder statesman. But do you ever have conversations, Michael, with the Mitch McConnells? With people that have been a part of this party for so long, Michael, that I know that you worked with them, I know that you interact with them. Have you ever had conversations with them to say, what the hell are you thinking? What the hell are you not doing to get this ship back on course?
Before, yes. Now, no. They don't want to hear it. They don't. One of the reasons why I stay, and I stay so vocal as a Republican, I've been in this space a long time, is to hold the mirror up and to show them their Dorian Gray portrait. To show them what they look like to the rest of America, and most especially to those of us who once worked with them. So no, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to be told that they're the outliers. They're the ones. I mean, they look at me and say, oh, you're a rhino. It's like, okay, really? Seriously, you're going to have that conversation. You're embracing a guy who just joined the party a year before he actually decided to run for president. Come on. But they don't want to be honest about that. And it's frustration. It is why many Republicans are standing down or moving out of the party altogether. We've reported on MSNBC and on Peacock over the past year the drop off in Republican registration. So there's why they're leaning harder into the fear, the mongering. There is no place in their America, Katie, for you and for me. There is no place for us. And I think the more we're honest about that, hopefully the more Americans will decide this is not who we are, this is not who we want to be, and they will not this fall put these people back in power. I mean, I'm telling you, a year from now, there's going to be moaning and gnashing of teeth with Kari Lake as governor of Arizona going into 24, Mastriano as the governor of Pennsylvania going into 24, who have told us what they're going to do. I mean, Kari Lake is like, I'm going to decertify the 2020 election if I'm elected governor. How the hell are you going to do that? And yet people are thinking, oh, well, that's not real. It's not going to happen until it does. And then what you going to say, boo? Because who are you going to turn to? Katie and Michael can't help you at that point.
You're still in the party. I got the hell out, to be honest with you. Michael, thank you so much for being here. Michael Steele, former chair of the RNC. What is that saying,
my
right?
Pleasure. And you used, by the way, you used my favorite amuse-bouche. Go ahead, girl.
Amuse-bouche. What is that saying, though, Michael? When people show you who they are, the first time, believe them, right?
That's right.
You have to believe them. So, Michael, you're actually going to be keeping my chair warm for me next Thursday. So I appreciate it. I'm thanking you in advance for doing that for me.
Looking forward to it. Thank you for the honor.
Thanks, Michael Steele.